Hello again. So this is 2023 and I was thinking about doing a video about general understanding of exercise, diet, weight loss, and what you should do or what you should have as a goal. Again, the basic information is not going to be dramatically or drastically changed, but certain things you can probably summarize it. So I think we will start with the exercise and something as an alternative as a what you should do every year, depending upon, of course, your age group. So if you're in a little bit older age group, you should do certain things differently. If you're doing in a younger age group, you should do certain things differently. So basically, one should always have a quote general physical examination, though usually nowadays with advent of various blood tests, CAT scans, etc., not much of physical exam as such is needed other than maybe diagnosing skin cancers and of course knowing the symptoms. So I think once a year lipid profile, which is cholesterol, triglycerides, and subclasses of HDL, LDL, etc. is needed. If you have a strong family history of cardiac issues, or if you're diabetic and hypertensive, this becomes more important, and one should always do it and follow it. Indians tend to have a smaller coronaries and hypertriglyceridemia. The triglycerides are elevated, and they may have a pre-diabetic or diabetic situation. One of the misconceptions about diabetes is that fasting blood sugar, and I know it is not a misconception according to the American Diabetic Association, but I feel that to diagnose early diabetes, you need something more than just the fasting blood sugar. A lot of people tend not to eat lots of sweets and fasting, so if the blood sugar fasting is greater than 100, it becomes like it is elevated. Certainly more than 120 would be definite diabetes. If you're going to do one blood sugar, then maybe 2 hours after having a significant carbohydrate load would be the best thing to check. And that should be low or lower than 120. But hemoglobin A1C, which is a glycosized hemoglobin, is probably important if you're already diagnosed with prediabetes or if you're obese or have some other issues. So usually below 6 would be okay, above 6 would be abnormal. You don't have to be on medication if you're 6.1, 6.2, etc., unless you have some other conditions. So checking the blood sugar, fasting, or 2 hours after the meals, and taking lipid profile, which of course is the fasting, including the triglycerides, etc., is very important. One important thing to remember is that cholesterol is a animal origin thing. So no vegetarian food has cholesterol. Again, repeating it, cholesterol comes from animal source of food. It is not there in any vegetarian food. Please remember, milk and its product like cheese, etc., are animal origin. So if your cholesterol is elevated, reducing cholesterol intake to minimum by going on a plant-based diet will reduce cholesterol by about 10 to 15%, maximum maybe 20%. 80 to 85% of the cholesterol is produced by your own body, and so it is independent of your intake. So again, if you have a borderline cholesterol, cutting back on animal origin cholesterol will help to reduce by 10%, which may bring you down to certain limits. So important thing to be done yearly is a lipid profile, blood count, kidney function, liver function. And if you have a tendency to be obese or have family history of diabetes, taking hemoglobin A1C or glycosized hemoglobin. That is an important thing. After a certain age, stool checks for occult blood or a colonoscopy, which is required or needed. Of course, in females, mammogram and pap smears are important. If you have had a hysterectomy, pap smear is not needed. But other than that, I think it is important to get yearly pap smear and yearly mammogram. Absolutely must. People who are getting to be postmenopausal tend to develop thinning of the bones or something called osteopenia or lack of bone density, so osteoporosis. I feel that the Caucasian women have smaller or thinner bones, and Indian, of course, have very thin bones. Indian diet tends to be not that strong in protein, and so calcium and vitamin D intake is important. But again, doing a bone density is very important for postmenopausal group. If the bone density is reduced, it's called osteopenia. If it is substantially reduced, it's called osteoporosis. And depending upon the severity, a treatment would be needed. Certainly taking calcium, 1,000 to 1,500, 1,200 milligram, and vitamin D will help, but it's not a cure for osteoporosis, and additional medications from oldest type called Fosamax to shots like Prolia would be needed. Again, that is a very specialized thing, and I cannot cover it here. But certainly a postmenopausal women should have bone density measurement. So mammogram, bone density, pap smear, 3 specific things for women, and lipid profile, CB blood count, liver function, electrolyte, kidney function, liver function, and if needed, hemoglobin A1C for general population is needed. So this is what is good, healthy habits. Correction, good, healthy checkups. But certainly, if you have an abnormality of any one of them, certainly you need to do follow-up on this after the treatment is initiated. Unfortunately, many of us in this country are obese or overweight. Just to repeat, compared to my original or few other videos, body mass index, waist to hip ratios are the indicators whether somebody has overweight status or obesity. The BMI is still standard and used unless you are extremely muscular and big. BMI still is very reliable. Body mass index is based on weight and square of height in inches. And thirdly, if you would have a BMI of greater than 25, so 25 is considered upper limit of normal. For Asians, it is less. So BMI 25 plus is considered overweight. 25 to 30 is overweight. 30 to 35 is obese. And once you start getting closer to 40, it is morbidly obese. So a BMI should be reduced if you are higher than that. Percentage body fat measured by a certain machine is not very reliable, but certainly can give you like guidelines, and certainly would be important if you are trying to reduce the fats. It is not the fat which is on your upper extremities, but it is the belly fat, which is representative of fat in the abdomen or belly. What is called visceral fat is the detrimental one for developing atherosclerosis, heart problems, and additional stuff. Atherosclerosis can lead to strokes, heart attack, kidney failure, circulation issues, etc. So measuring your body fat is an important thing in addition to body mass index. There are machines that you can hold like this, the bars, and they will calculate the body fat. There are others where you can stand on a scale, it will calculate body fat percentage. Certainly a body fat percentage less than 18 or 20 would be a great achievement. If it is somewhere around 20, 22, you are acceptable. Once you start going beyond that, it is detrimental. Please remember that females have higher percentage body fat, and even 25 plus may be considered okay. So In today's video, I talked about what you should watch for. In the next video, we will talk about how to exercise for betterment, whether it is physical or mental. Thank you. If you like it, please subscribe. Have a nice day. See you next time.